This is Jeff Makinen at DRF Sports. Today I will be handicapping the Monday night matchup for this week, which will feature the Indianapolis Colts and the New Orleans Saints. It'll take place at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I'll be utilizing the DRF Sports matchup tool, which is included in your DRF Sports subscription. The matchup tool contains winning betting angles for all games from all the major sports, along with access to the most powerful game simulator available and exclusive power ratings. You get all this for just $5. Log in at sports.drf.com today or log into www.drf.com and click on the sports link in the upper right-hand corner of the site. Currently, the Saints are sitting at a 9-point favorite in this game with an over-under of 47. The line opened up at 8.5 and 44, so there is some movement towards the over in this game, moving up from 44 to 47. Looking at our game simulator, estimate number 1 generates a star edge to the Colts, calling for a 25-22 Saints win, which represents 6 points of line value here. Estimate number 2 calls for a Saints 23-19 victory. Not quite enough for the star edge. However, it also represents some line value, 5 points to be specific, on the Colts. And the power line calls for the Saints to be a 7-point favorite. So again, in this case, 2 points of line value on the Colts. So there is some line value here on the Indianapolis Colts. New Orleans currently 10-3, tied, or one game behind the San Francisco 49ers for number 1 seed in the NFC playoff picture. They did lose last week to the 49ers, which was a damaging loss in terms of home field advantage going forward in the playoffs. The Saints primarily get it done with turnovers. As I have mentioned in past videos, they have turned the ball over just 8 times in the season. They're plus 11 in turnover differential, and they have no games so far this season where they turn the ball over more than 1 time. So Drew Brees and company taking care of the football, and it has been one of their keys to success. Despite their 10-3 record, they are just outscoring their opponents by 3 points a game. So like several teams in the NFC, Green Bay, Seattle, New Orleans, these are teams who are just finding a way to get it done. Now, some would call this winning ugly, but in the NFL, as everybody is aware, winning is all that counts. Into our betting angles, one interesting one that appears here in favor of the Colts: bet on road underdogs, often extremely close road loss by 3 points or less in the last 4 weeks of the regular season. In this case, this does apply to the Colts. It hasn't happened very often. It's 24-5 going back to 1983, plus 18.5 units. The Colts lost a tough 3-point game where Tampa Bay rallied from a 2-touchdown deficit in the fourth quarter to beat Indianapolis down in Tampa Bay. Other interesting ones that appear that favor the Colts here: Frank Reich, as coach of the Colts, is 8-2 against the spread against teams with winning records. The Colts are also 10-2 against the spread versus good offensive teams, which are categorized as teams who average 350 or more yards per game during the last 3 seasons. Sean Payton has been a good bounce-back coach as coach of the Saints here, 24-8 against the spread after a loss of less than 6 points. The 49ers did defeat New Orleans last week, 48-46 in a shootout, so this one does apply here. The average score: Saints 30, opponents 20. One betting system that favors the over that I think is important as we look at this game: the bet over on home teams against the total after a home game where both teams scored 24 or more total points with a winning record on the year. So basically what you have here is a good team coming in off a home shootout and appearing again on the home field. In this case, if you would have bet the over 167 times this has occurred since 1983, 64% of the time it has won, 107-60 the record. Looking at our betting action in this game, 83% of the action favors the Saints, the favored Saints to win this game. 86% favors the over. So as you so often see in these high-profile Monday night games, the public is siding with the favorite in the over. Taking a look at the season results for both of these teams, the Colts come in here on a 3-game losing streak, which has pretty much eliminated them from the AFC playoff race. The Saints in off a tough home loss to the 49ers, 48-46. One interesting thing to point out here is as a 9.5 underdog, this is one of the largest lines the Colts have faced all year. The only other occurrence in which the Colts were this big of an underdog, or near this big of an underdog, was on October 6th at Kansas City, where the Colts beat the Chiefs outright 19-13 as a 10.5-point underdog. They have also been a 3.5-point underdog to Houston, in which they got the cover there, and a 3-point underdog to Tampa Bay, in which they pushed. The Saints have been large favorites several times. At home against Arizona, minus 12.5, they did win that one 31-9. However, as 14-point favorites over the Falcons, they were blown out by Atlanta 26-9, and they also failed to cover as 10-point favorites against Carolina 34-31 at home. The Colts do have the line value here. They also set up well in terms of their recent performance against good offenses and winning teams. There's motivation on the Saints side coming off that tough home loss to the 49ers. They're also in the run for playoff seeding as opposed to the Colts, who are pretty much eliminated at this point from the AFC playoff race. There are reasons to like both sides of this game. I'm a little concerned in that the public money is coming in on the favorite here. My lean would be to the Colts plus the 9 points. This is Jeff Makinen, DRF Sports, Twitter handle @SportsDBExpert. Best of luck to you guys on Monday Night Football.